Hi, welcome back to Tyne Valley Motorhomes. I'm Callum and this is the handover of a Chausson 520 VIP 2020 model. So as we start the walk round on the driver's side of the vehicle first, you've got your external gas point here. So underneath you've got a connection, a point for a quick release connection. So you'd pop it in there, connect that to some gas rubber hosing with some Jubilee clips, and then you can connect that to your Cadillac external barbecue awning heater and turn it on and off via the grey gas tap, which will allow the flow of gas through to this point for you to use your appliance off the main bottle, so that you don't have to carry a spare bottle when on in the garage. You use the main bottle on board. You've got your Fiamma awning. It's a bit windy to show you that, but that can be shown on day of collection. With your two fridge vents and your awning light, and then located just behind the back wheel is your wastewater. So all you need to do is pull this forward and you'll see the water coming out. You'd normally drive over the grid on the way out of your site and allow the water that you use out of the vehicle. So this is hand, basin, dishes water and showering water, or anything that you've drained off via a plug hole. Make sure that it's fully drained off in the winter so that the water does not freeze in the tank and cause any serious damage. Cassette's 28, so to obviously operate your cassette toilet, you need to ensure that the blade is in the closed position, which is the grey lever on the front of the toilet inside the vehicle, because otherwise it keeps the mechanism engaged and you can't do this. So it's not engaged because I can lift the handle and slide the cassette out. If it was engaged, the cassette won't come out. You've got a handle so you can drag it round to your waste disposal point, which is normally beside your toilet block, and then to empty, remove the grey cap, press the button, tip it out. Once you've tipped it out, there's a tap, put some water in, give it a rinse, tip out again, and then go in with a full cap of either the green or the blue chemical into there, which is 120 ml, back into the cassette, and then you can push it back into the vehicle and use the cassette. On the back of the vehicle you've got your garage door, and you've got little bits and pieces in here. So you've got a full size spare steel wheel with a tyre on, and it doesn't look like it's ever been used. You've got your ladder for your bed if you're going to use it as a 4-berth in the back here. You've got your winder for your awning, but this is the winder we want, the winder for the bike rack. Silver screens for the outside of the cab, they're in here as well, and a light above. To operate the bike rack, so the bike rack is a wind down bike rack. You need your magnetic end to connect onto here, and you want to clip it on like so, and then you can wind the rack down. So as you can see, obviously 2 straps here, make sure they're loosened off, wind it down. So wind it down. Put your bikes onto here. These through your spokes of your bike wheels to tie them down, and then these through your crossbars. So this is your second bike, the furthest one away from the vehicle. This is your first bike, and then put some sort of bike lock around the back just in case you do leave the vehicle unattended, and then all you do is wind it back up in this position. If you're not using it, then you would fold the rack back up and then wind it. of the vehicle. So above the bike rack you've got your high level brake light just up here and your reverse camera, and then next to the garage, so you've got some shelving behind here. The bottom parking sensors, and then your LPG, so this is your liquid petroleum gas locker, and you can fit one 6 kilogram bottle in here, and then so you'd put the bottle in, then what you'd want to do is strap it in just for security. Stops the bottle moving when you're driving about. It's nice and safe. So strap the bottle in, and then you connect the pigtail, so it's left hand thread with it being gas. So this goes in, and then you turn left to tighten, right to loosen, and you want to nip this up with your hands and then go in with a spanner. So either adjustable wrench or a gas spanner, which you can buy from caravans, shops, online. And then what you want to do is just nip it up. So nip it up, turn the bottle on, and that's you good to go. Always turn the bottle off before you do go back on the road, so it's safer in case you were involved in any collision. And this is what's known as your Technibox locker. So all your external locks open with a habitation key. So you can once they push in, you can open them. So here you've got your water. So you've got an onboard water tank to fill. You put your hose pipe in there. Carry a hose pipe because sites don't have one, and it's mainly just a brass tap on site, so you need a couple of hose pipe connections, the screw on end, a hose pipe, pop it in there, wait until it either overflows or until you're happy there's enough water on board, which you can see on the main control panel, but you can also kind of see on the tank where the water line is, giving you a rough idea of how much water is on board. If you've got a full tank and you're then ready to travel, and you don't want to travel with the added weight, obviously you can drain it all off, which the bungs underneath the van, which I'll go through in a minute. But if you want to take it down from 100% to 20%, leaving 20 litres in the tank, you'd lift this, put the pump on inside and open the tap, and what it'll do is it'll drain down until it leaves 20 litres just by squirting it out underneath the floor. So it'll eliminate some water to maximise the weight carrying capacity, but you've got to put the pump on and open the tap for this to drain off, and so that'll give you enough to use the toilet or have a cup of tea if you're going on a longer journey. This side you do have your trips on mains electric, so if your kettle, hairdryer or anything trips the vehicle out, try here before you try your main site, or if you want to actually see if you're receiving mains power, you can trip the vehicle out here. Fuses, so carry some spare blade fuses with you. These are mainly 5, 10, 20 and 30 amp fuses, and a couple of 3s. Get them from your local car shop, Halfords, Eurocar parts, just in case one fuse does blow, you can replenish the fuse. And then you've got 2 fuses here for your diesel heater. So if your diesel heater ever goes from a solid green light to a flashing green light, that indicates that there's a fault. Turn it off, come out, pull these fuses out, give it 30 seconds, pop the fuses back in, and then that should resolve the problem. Underneath the vehicle is where the main drop is for either the full tank or that remaining 20 litres, so that you're not sitting water in the vehicle when it's stood up on the drive or in storage. You're not carrying water in the winter where it's going to potentially freeze, or if you've taken on contaminated water. And that is on there. So all you need to do is turn the white valve, and that should allow the water straight out. Mains hookup point, so if you are charging the vehicle or if you were on a site to connect the vehicle to power, you need to get your hookup lead, lift the collar, expose the end and slide it onto the vehicle. Hook the vehicle up first and then the power source, and do it in reverse order when unhooking, so that you're not walking around with a live lead in your hand. Truma vent, so your boiler is behind here. When heating the water on gas, this cover must come off because it needs to allow the fumes out. When heating it on electric, you can leave it on, and when you're driving washing the vehicle, leave it on. Hand on the top, thumb in the middle, peel it off. It just allows the fumes out when operating on gas, otherwise it will fail because the cover is stopping it from working because it can't eliminate the fumes. Pop that in the driver's door pocket, or passenger's door pocket even, and then pop it on before you leave your site. Diesel filler, which is a capless system, so it just reacts to the diesel nozzle. And then AdBlue, so 15 to 17 litre tank on the Transits. Do 5,000 mile on a full tank of AdBlue. When at 4,000 mile, you'll get a mileage countdown of 1,000 miles if you top it up in that 1,000 mile, because if you don't, the vehicle simply won't start when it goes to 0 miles left in the AdBlue. Buy it on the pumps. It's cheaper than buying it in the drums, a lot easier. Just take the cap off, fill with AdBlue, and I think it's about 1.45 a litre on the pumps for AdBlue, and you can do 5,000 mile, like I've said, on a full tank. But at 4,000 you'll get a mileage countdown, so top it up as soon as the light comes on. Engine batteries underneath the cab seat, which is the driver's seat. Leisure batteries underneath the passenger cab seat. And then walk around to open the bonnet. Open the bonnet, you need to use your key. Pop it in the front above the Chausson badge, turn it to your left to pop the bonnet. To release the bonnet, turn it to your right. And underneath here you've got your various liquids. So you've got your screen wash, your oil filler, your oil dipstick, your brake fluid. Your negative for giving or receiving a jump start, the engine hoist loose loop even. I put my teeth in. And then underneath you've got your positive here for giving or receiving a jump start, as the engine batteries underneath the cab, driver's seat, and then your coolant. So to operate your Dometic fridge freezer, so you've got large freezer box, fridge. It's all controlled through the middle here, so you turn on and off by pressing and holding the button. Turn it off, turn it on. A stands for automatic energy selection. So what that'll do is, the brain of the fridge will pick out the best source you have available, and it'll use electric where it can. So at the moment we've got a gas bottle on the back, and we've got it hooked up. It knows not to waste gas, so it's went to mains power. If I was to take the hookup out, it would switch over to gas, and if I was to start the vehicle, it would go to 12 volt, and it would keep the 12 volt setting. You need to pre-chill beforehand for it to work properly, otherwise there's no real use of it being on, as it's not going to get any colder on 12 volts. You've got to pre-chill it on either gas or electric first, and then put your shopping in the night before, or if you've been to one site and you're ready to go to the next, your shopping will be fresh. When you start up on automatic, it will switch over to 12 volt, and as long as you travel, it should keep your shopping nice and fresh. Failing that, you can change it manually, so you can take the A off. It's on the hookup, mains to 40 volt. It'll act as a mains household fridge. Battery code 6, loss of 12 volt because it's not getting any because the vehicle's not started. And then gas, which you'd use if you were wild camping and you had no other way of cooling the fridge than using gas. Temperature here, so 5, put on full blast when cooling down. When you put your shopping in, you might just want to turn it down, as it sometimes does freeze the fridge and the freezer. And then you've got your frame heater here, so you can turn that on, and that'll stop the door rubbers from getting stuck to the frame when operating on full temperature. When you are finished with the fridge, just clean it out, give it a wipe out, take everything out. No matter if you're leaving it for a couple of weeks or a few months in the winter when you're not using it, you've got to leave the doors open, because you will start to get smells in the vehicle off the fridge if the air is trapped inside of it. But what you can do is, underneath both you've got these little toggles, so you've got one there. We'll get that one replaced. It needs to go in there. Same with the other one. Once it gets, there'll be one put on there. I'll make sure You'd pop it into there and it would keep the doors ajar, and you can get air circulation in and out of the fridge and freezer to stop the smells. And then when you're travelling, you can pop the travel catch on the bottom to stop the door from opening on itself. If it ever did, if you went over a bumpy road and the door decided to open, it would stop it because the travel catch is on. Above the fridge, you do have your solar panels. So that's your meter, so you can view what's currently coming in off the battery. But just look on the main panel, just keep an eye on viewing your leisure battery and seeing how much charging. That's the best way on the panel. And then you also do have a status 570 TV aerial that's been fitted to the vehicle. So on the TV amplifier, you can amplify the signal min and max here, and it's shown green, which means that you've got a signal. Should that be shown orange, you have to try the amplifier first, or should it be shown red, then you have to change the direction of the aerial by loosening off, pushing the stem up, and then using the toggle to direct the aerial on the roof. But make sure before that you do start travelling, it's pulled in and it is secure so that the wind doesn't get underneath the aerial and damage the aerial. Best tip is to look where the other motorhomes and caravans are pointing on your site. Behind, you've got TV points, so you've 12, if you get a telly, get a 12 volt one, you can connect there, or you can connect a mains telly there, but obviously you've just got to be hooked up all the time for that to work. Press the catch, slide the bracket out, and attach your telly to here, and this is a Project 2000 TV bracket. Across from where we've got the kitchen, so you've got your electric table, an electric drop down bed switch. So table this one, bed that one, 230 volt socket. Pulling your gas through, you've got 2 gas ring burners. Turn them off, allow them to cool, along with the hot plate, which is this one here. Allow it to cool down before you do put the lid down, the glass lid, because you can shatter it with the heat. And underneath, you've got oven. There. And you do have your grill. You may want to take the grill pan and oven shelf out when travelling, as it can rattle when on the road. Some storage in here for your pots and pans and your food. That's just your speaker for your rear reversing sensors. And then cutlery drawer. Turn light on and off under here by the little black nib. Storage. Boiler switch on electric, so you've got 50 at the bottom, off in the middle, and gas, and 70 degrees at the top, and that is on gas, not electric. That is your gas side. So scrap what I said, that is gas, so you've got 70 at the top, off in the middle, and 50 degrees at the bottom. To operate the 4G Wi-Fi system that's been fitted by the previous customer, there's a mast on the roof which acts as an antenna, which it is an antenna, and it'll get 10 times the phone signal you've got. But what you do need to do is, in the back of here, removing the back, and underneath the battery you need to put a SIM in. So you can either put a pay-as-you-go one in, or you can get a pay monthly and ask for a data only SIM from the people you've got your phones with. And then also underneath the back, if you remove it, you'll need to remove it to get the pin for the connection. So if I just stand the camera up a moment, remove the back. So your pin is at the bottom here, and you want to pop that into your phones, pop the SIM into here, and put the battery back in. You want to connect the aerial back on the roof. So these two wires here are your antenna wires, they go into here. So one in there, one in there, and then you turn the device on from the front, and then it'll tell you that there's no SIM in it at present, because there's not. Once there's a SIM in, it'll tell you who. So it'll come up with Vodafone, 3, Virgin, O2, so giffgaff, anyone like that. And then it'll tell you how many device is paired with it. But it's a 4G compact, and you're looking for Hawaii on your phones to pair with it and punch that SIM in. Across the back of the vehicle you do have your washroom. So your washroom concertina door, it's got a Velcro strap on it. Make sure the strap is put on before you travel, and it'll stop it moving. And then you do have your large shower cubicle with duct board, so that just helps the drainage of the water, and it also means that you're not putting a lot of weight in one place on the shower tray. You can spread your weight across the duct board. When winterizing, if you remove the head, so just unscrew your shower head from your hose, because any water could potentially line in there, and leave the taps open. So all the taps throughout the motorhome in the middle position, just to stop any water that's behind in pipe work, and it'll stop any airlocking occurring. You've got a towel rail which also doubles up as a great place to hang wet coats, wet clothing. Hang them up, drip dries in here. Shut this door, there's an air duct there for the diesel heater. Crank it up and it'll get nice and warm, and it'll dry your clothes out in no time. And then above you've got a fly screen and a little skylight that you can open once you've used the shower to get a nice bit of ventilation, but that's got to be shut before you do start traveling. Across the back behind the mirrors you do have your wardrobe, so you've got some shelving this side, 2 hanging rails for hanging your clothes, but make sure it's pushed in, and then that'll not move when you travel. And you can put other bits in here. Sink, as long as the pump's on, you get a pressurised flow of water. So that's without the pump on, it just fades away. Once you put the pump on, you get a pressurised flow like so. That's bringing the warm water through now because it's getting warm. So your hot water system's working. Toiletry cabinet, so you can move the mirror across the window to black the window out as well. And on the window, so you just pinch, push the catches in, push it out, push it all the way out to bring it in. With a fly screen, a blackout blind, pinch in the middle to depart the two. Toiletry cabinet, your light switch is underneath the counter. That's the most asked question when you get asked where's the lights in the washroom on a Chausson, and they've put this hidden little switch underneath here, so there it is. To flush the toilet, so press the blue button to fresh water flush off your main tank. So make sure the pump's on. Flush it first to lubricate the seal and the blade, and then always put some water in first before you use it, and then open the blade, so push this to the right, then use the toilet. Flush after use, and then bring this back to the left to close the blade and disengage the mechanism, otherwise you may go to empty the cassette. When the light comes on here, go out to pull the cassette out, you can't pull it out, and you're wondering why can't I not get the cassette out, and it's because you've left the blade open. So located behind the passenger seat on the face of the long bench seat is your second switch for heating your water, And as you can see, this one says Truma boiler EL 230 volts. So if you're hooked up, you can heat your water off electric. You can't have the electric and gas on together, which will reduce the time it takes to heat the water. But if you've paid for your site fees, don't bother wasting your gas. So off in the middle like the gas, but you've got 1 kilowatt, which is 750 watts at the top, and then 2 kilowatts at the bottom, which is the bigger voltage of 1500 watts. So just depending on what you're running at the same time, you can either run 1 or 2 kilowatts, but if you're on a camping and caravan site throughout the UK, just put onto 2 kilowatts and you should be fine. But if it is tripping the vehicle out with you running a kettle or something else, just turn it to 1 kilowatt and see if it doesn't trip the vehicle out. Located behind is a location of the boiler. So the boiler heats the water 10 litres at any one time, to be precise. And in the winter you need to drain that 10 litres of water off, because you wouldn't want it to freeze, because if it freezes in here when not in use, it's not covered under warranty and it's very expensive to do so. So what you need to do is, you need to make sure that you come in with no pump on, no power, and all you need to do is this little yellow tap, lift it up. It's now draining the water directly out underneath the chassis, and it'll drain the 10 litre container that's in there. And then when you're ready to reuse the vehicle, lie it back down like so, shut the fresh, shut the waste, shut all the taps, assemble the shower head back together, and then fill the vehicle via a hose pipe with fresh water. Come in, put the panel on, put the pump on, and go to the cold side of the tap first. You'll get a automatic flow of cold water because it's bringing it from underneath the tank here via the pump to the tap. Go to the hot side, it'll cough splutter because what's happening is the pump's transferring the water into here of 10 litres until you get a free flow of water from the hot side. This is when you know that your system is then primed. But it's very important, and I can't stress enough, that you need to drain off the boiler, because it does happen to people forget, and it is a costly mistake to make. So lift that up and drain off that water so that you don't have to replace your boiler. So if you remove your cushions from both sides of the lounge, you've got what's known as a smart lounge underneath. So using the black knob at the back, pull it back and you can pull the backrest of the seat up. You'll notice you've got isofixing, so if you're putting car seats, grandchildren in here, kids, you can connect directly to the frame. So that's been crash tested, so it's got isofix like most modern cars with the newer children's seat. Head restraint here, which just clips onto the top. And then what you need to do is you need to put the base cushion back in. And that one down. Your base cushion in and your backrest. Seat belt just slotted over the top, and there'll be a buckle just in this corner here, which there is, which forms another belted seat, and you've got two on either side, so it is a 4-berth, 4-belted vehicle. So to make the lounge into a bed, so as it's a 4-berth, you've got 2 above, 2 below. You need to drop the table by using the switch over here. Drop the table down into its lowest position. Pull the extension out and fold the top over. The same as if you were going to use it as a dining table, but just lower it down. Push it as far into the cab as you can get it, like so. And then you've got a big cushion with a hard board on. That goes to the front of the vehicle. And then you've got this one. So push it in, fold the leg, that'll go here, and then push it in to fold the leg, and that'll go there and form the base of the bottom bed. And then above you've got your electric drop down bed, so using the switch at the far end you can bring the bed down. So you can stop it at any height if you were using the bed underneath, or you can bring it all the way down. That's when the ladder would clip on here, which is in the back garage. And you can bring it all the way down to so, which is just about waist height or just below waist height. And you can use obviously heads this end, feet that end. Remove the pillars when you're putting the bed up, and don't put anything too thick on the bed, such as a memory foam mattress topper. Not too thick, because what it'll do is could short the motor out. And then when you are winterizing it, don't leave the bed all the way up against the ceiling. So I'll show you where to leave it, or where roughly to leave it when winterizing it, so you can allow air circulation through the top of the roof and the mattress. So you want to probably leave it about there, just so you can get air circulation and that nothing's going to stain the wallboard on the roof if the mattress was to sweat. So now in the cab, to the right of the driver, you've got your handbrake, which is a foldable handbrake to allow the cab seats to spin. So you've got to pull it up, press the button in and release, and you'll see the red light in the bottom of the speedo go out, which means it's off, and then pull it back up, hear it click, and it's back on. Electric windows, driver and passenger. Locks the doors. You have to manually lock the habitation door by pushing the chrome catch in. Mirror adjustment, driver and passenger, and it is just the big mirrors. You've got to manually adjust the little mirror, which is the blind spot mirror. Brightness of the instrument cluster, you can adjust that when the lights are on. Headlight adjustment, I'd just leave the headlights on automatic. They'll come on when it senses that it's dark, and they'll turn off when it senses it's warm. Fog lights, front and rear. Wipers, indicators. Voice command, skip and answer. Skip and decline a call. Digital speedometer. On here you can go through instant fuel usage, distance to empty, which is your range, 234 mile, average speed, average fuel usage, 30.8 miles per gallon, trip timer 1, distance on the trip 1. That's all on there. And you can go to here and go down to maintenance, and you can view your oil life, your AdBlue level, so you can see that your minimum refill is 5 litres, your maximum refill is 14.8 litres. So you do have about a 17-18 litre tank on a Ford by the looks of it. On this side you've got cruise control, so you press that, set, push it up to set, push it down to adjust the speed. So plus and minus, you can adjust it. Once you've set it, you can adjust it by slowing it down or speeding it up, cancelling here, resuming there, and then the limiter. Obviously if you're on a 50 mile an hour average speed camera zone, you can go up and down. Slowly goes up in 1s, push and hold goes up in 5s. And then if you're on the accelerator, I'll not go over that until you either cancel it, which you can see there, it's got the cross through it, which means it's cancelled, and you can resume it there. Volume and mute. Mode just goes through normal and eco. So if you get the speed in normal, and then once you're cruising at say 70 mile an hour on the motorway, hit it into eco, It'll just save your fuel over the yearly usage of diesel in the van. So you'll see that you save a bit of fuel and it lasts a little bit longer in eco, but you can only do that once you're at this set speed. Don't put eco on when you're going up and down speeds, because it will limit the horsepower of the vehicle. Keep it to what it is. Once you're at speed, knock it in eco. Once you're going to overtake, knock it back into normal, and then back into eco. And then you can turn your traction on and off here. 6-speed manual gearbox. Lift the collar into reverse, which will bring on your sensors. There's your beep for your sensors, just on there. Also should bring on your rear view camera, but it's coming up with no signal at present. So what I'll do is I'll speak to the workshop controller, I'll mention that in the fridge catch, and we'll get that sorted straight away for you. Temperature, aircon, recirculation, heated windscreen with it being a Ford. Face, feet, screen, where you want the air to go to be circulated to, heated mirrors, on and off, and the fan speed. Hazards: 12 volt for charging, USB for the radio, Accent F280 head unit, so you can press navigation, and it's got the chip in the side for the sat nav, and it'll load the sat nav here. Press in the right hand corner, it'll show you an overview of where you are, and you want to press new route. And when you press address, and you want to put your postcode in the middle one where it says town and postcode, you'd enter where you want to go, and then press select as destination, set as destination, go, and it'll start your countdown. So you've got to go through 3 other pages before the navigation will start, once it gives you an overview of how many miles and how long it takes you to get there. You've got radio, which is FM AM, but you're going to use DAB, so press tab, press list. You can view your files, so you can view the national, Tyne and Wear stations, the national stations, and the BBC national stations. Once you're happy, you can press preset and save up to 6 of your favourite channels there, and then you can connect your phone by going to phone, delete all of these, search for your phone, search on your device at the same time for Accent, press pair on here. Then it'll ask you if you want to download your phone book, just press allow, and it'll download your contacts into the head unit. And then you'll also be able to stream your music if you're going to use any Bluetooth music by pressing music, and you can use Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, and stream your music through here, as it doesn't take a CD. Failing that, you can put a memory stick in and go to the next menu and go to USB or iPod and down and get your songs that way. And then you do have your curtains to black the screen out on an evening, and you can put your silver screen on the outside of the windscreen over the doors by clipping it round on the top of the doors underneath the wipers, and that'll reflect the heat and keep the heat in the winter.